Om Ajnanatimidandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Dhena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Hare Krishna and welcome to ISKCON of Silicon Valley. Thank you for tuning in if you're on the internet. We're going to have a couple hours tonight of hearing and chanting together, which is the best use of time according to Rupa-Goswami, who says, Tanama Rupa Charitari Sikirtananu Smrityo Kramena Rasanama Rasiniyoja Tishtam Vraje Tanaruragi Jananugami Kalam Nayed Akilam Ityupadesha Saram. He says the saram, the cream of Upadesh, of instruction or advice, is to spend your time hearing and chanting, because this is where the great profit is in spiritual life. We can quote thousands of verses, not from memory, but we can bring them out from various places. We can quote dozens from memory that will support this position that by hearing about Krishna and the association of devotees, one naturally makes advancement in the process of devotional service. So that's our intention of coming together tonight, and we thank everyone who's joined us. We offer our respectful obeisances to His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhakti-rasamrta-sindhu Swami Prabhupada, who has organized this process of hearing and chanting all over the world. He had the foresight to create communities and then codify the process of bhakti such that anyone who follows in his footsteps by taking up the system that he left behind will naturally make advancement in devotional service. There's a way in which, by following the great acharyas, one naturally advances in devotional service. This is called acharya upasanam, worship of the acharya. Or it's also called, in the Bhagavatam, Mahatkritena. This is a statement given by the demigods who were praying to Lord Krishna within the womb. And they said, Tvayam bhujaksha kila satvadamni samadhina veshita chetasayake Mahatkritena, that if you follow in the footsteps of the great souls, then naturally you'll be able to cross over the ocean of material existence. So this is the legacy that Srila Prabhupada left behind, a perfectly organized society that would follow in the footsteps of the parampara. And anyone who follows it from near or far, it doesn't mean you have to live inside an ashram. If you live remotely and you follow the process by tuning in and getting some kind of guidance, then you'll also make advancement by staying in touch, especially with the 5 most potent aspects of the 64 items of devotional service. And maybe each one of you can name one of them, and we'll have 4 of them covered. So we need the mic over here. I'll reiterate. Out of 64 items of devotional service, there are 5 that are considered by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to be the most potent and important. Do we have mics? Do we have mics? We got whole boxes of them. Okay. 1 each.
Shravanam, or hearing.
Okay, this is specifically about, out of 64 angas, or limbs of devotional service, there are 5 angas. What you said is perfect, but you're talking about the 9 processes of devotional service. I'm talking about 5 specific processes out of the 64 items that are particularly potent.
Hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, or reading?
That's right. Hearing Srimad Bhagavatam and the association of like-minded devotees who are more advanced than yourself. This is one of the 5 most potent. Yes?
Associating with devotees?
Associating with devotees, absolutely. Sadhu Sangha. Go ahead.
Accepting things favorable to devotional service.
That is an excellent answer for another question. I mean, it's a perfect answer, but there's more perfect, and that's more to the point here, because there's 5 actual items. What you're talking about is Sharanagati, or the process of surrender. So, go ahead.
Chanting the holy name?
Yes, and one more. Give it to Anushri.
Visiting Dham.
Actually, there's 2 more.
Visiting Dham.
Living in the holy place, in a holy dham. And there's one more.
Performing deity worship.
Yes, so these are 5. And if you live far away from a temple or you're very, very busy, stay close to these 5. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, if you're not offensive, even if you don't have faith in them fully, but you're not offensive, and you even keep a little contact with these 5, then you'll make advancement in devotional service. So this is the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the process of Krishna consciousness. Radha Krishna bol bol, bolo re shobha. Shri Radha Krishna bol bol, bolo re shobha. Radha Vaisesika diya, Shabna diya, Preche neche gornitai. Hari bolo re shikadiya. Is that too high for everybody? It is. Radha Krishna bol bol bolo re shobha. Shri Radha Krishna bol bol bolo re shobha. Che mayar boshe, chacho peshe, kacho habudu bubai miche. Miche mayar boshe, jacho beshe, kacho habudu bubai. Hari bolo re miche mayar boshe. Radha Krishna bol bol bolo re shobha. Shri Radha Krishna bol bol bolo re shobha. Koletor duko nai. That's right. See. See. Krishna das he bishwas koletor duko nai ji. Hari bolo re ji Krishna da. Radha Krishna bol bolo re shobha. Shri Radha Krishna bol bolo re shobha. Krishna bolbe jabe pulakka habe, jorbi anki bolitai. Krishna bolbe jabe, pulaka habe, jorbi anki, boli thai. Gotta put your hands up. Pulaka habe, Hari bolo Radha Krishna bolo. Sorry. Hari bolo Krishna bolo. Again. Hari bolo Krishna bolbe jabe. Radha Krishna bol bol, bolo re shobha. Shri Shri Radha Krishna bol bol, bolo re shobha. Radha Krishna bolo, shange cholo. E matra bikachai. Radha Krishna bolo. Hari bolo Radha Krishna bolo. Radha Krishna bol bol, bolo re shobha. Shri Shri Radha Krishna bol bol, bolo re shobha. Jai Sakal Vipad Bhakti Vinod Bolan Jakonom Nam Gai. Jai Sakal Vipad Bhakti Vinod Bolan Jakonom Nam Gai. Bhakti Vinod Hari bolo re jahe Sakal Vipad. Radha Krishna bol bol, bolo re shobha. Shri Shri Radha Krishna bol bol, bolo re shobha. Jai Sakal Vipad Bhakti Vinod Bolan Jakonom Nam Gai. Jai Radha Krishna bolo shange cholo e matra bikaha chai. Krishna bolbe jabe pulaka habe jorbe anki boli thai. Krishna Jiv Krishna das e vishwas kole to ardu konai. Niche mayer boshe chacho beshe kacho habu dubu pai. Shikaria Shobnadia Precheniche Gornitai. Haribo, Haribo, Haribo Nitai Gaur Hariro. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai go Haribo, 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 Nitai go Haribo. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki jai. So let's look at the translation. This is a song by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Another one of his greatest hits. Chant, chant, Radha Krishna, everyone chant. So this is something that anyone can do who has a tongue, and especially if you're human, because you can figure it out. It's a magical mantra, and the names of Krishna are very beautiful. And if you chant every day, then you start to develop a relationship with the holy name and hear something that's extraordinarily satisfying. And not only that, when you chant Radha Krishna in the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, then you start to be able to figure out how to deal with the world. You discern what's important, what's not important. You can see that for yourself because your intelligence gets fortified by Krishna himself, who's there present in the holy name. And by the direct process of devotional service, when one's in contact with Krishna, then the Srimad Bhagavatam says, Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojita. Janaya Yashavairagyam Jnanam Chayara Haitukam. One gets knowledge and detachment from the world automatically when one practices bhakti. Knowledge means to be able to see the difference between the body and the self. It also means to see things in their proper perspective. The higher perspective we have, the happier we are. In the life of animals, their perspective is not very broad. If you let a dog into a library, there's only so much, according to his or her perspective, to enjoy in a library. Maybe the drinking fountain, I don't know. But certainly not the books. Unless he wants to urinate on them or something like that. It becomes obvious that according to the body one's achieved, one's either limited or given an expanded perspective. But when one's in the human body, then one can expand that perspective through the practice of chanting Hare Krishna. And through perspective, one understands how to put everything in its proper place. This is called nyasa. Nyasa means not NASA, but nyasa. Nyas means understanding where everything goes. So when you say sannyas, then means you know where everything goes. In other words, everything fits in its proper place for everything and everything in its place, and having knowledge of our relationship with this world and also with Krishna in the spiritual world is important, because otherwise we'll misplace our energy. We'll put it in the wrong place. But by chanting Hare Krishna, we'll have this kind of knowledge. What's important? We'll see the difference between the body and the soul. We'll have a clear idea of what to do with the things we have, how to use them properly. As we discussed the other day, when we are able to utilize what we have in service to Krishna, then we become satisfied, because it's like eating. When you put food in your mouth and it goes to the stomach, then everything else becomes satisfied, nourished, and happy. And that's the secret of success in life, is to serve Krishna. And the best way to serve Krishna is to chant Radha Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. And make no mistake about it, chanting Hare Krishna is a service to Krishna. It's the most important service that we have. So he's saying now a story about Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, and they came dancing through Nadia. And they gave the teachings, chant, chant, Radha Krishna, everyone chant. So that's a pretty simple teaching, isn't it? Everyone say it. Yes. No, not just yes, but what was the teaching? Chant, chant, Radha Krishna, everyone chant. That's what they were teaching. They just chant, chant, Radha Krishna, everyone chant. So anybody can do that. A mechanic can do it. They're less intelligent, they're pretty smart. But anyone, anywhere, doing any kind of job can learn how to chant Hare Krishna and become happy. And this is what Mahaprabhu said to his followers. First of all, he gathered them all together and he taught them how to chant Hare Krishna. They went to Srivasangam, the dwelling place of Srivas Thakur. And there they had kirtan every night for a year. And all night long they chanted Hare Krishna. Of course, in the daytime they didn't sleep either. So somehow, mystically, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu empowered them to stay awake for 1 year. And after that he said, now go out into the streets of Nadia and teach everybody else to chant. So we did that recently. We went to Nadia, remember? We were on our yatra, and we went around and we chanted Hare Krishna. We also distributed books in Bangla to the people there in Nadia, and the books say, chant, chant, Radha Krishna, everyone chant. A lot of people liked it. One of the rickshaw Wallace wanted to join the Sankirtan party, or at least to have books shipped to him there in Nadia so he could distribute them all over. And this was met with a little bit of resistance because the Hindus at the time in Nadia thought this wasn't a good idea. This is a new idea. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu introduced people going out in groups and chanting Hare Krishna on the street corners of Nadia. And so the Hindus went to the Muslim government and they complained. They say, what kind of Hinduism is this? They said, chanting out loud, God's name is sacred, and if you chant it out loud, it's an offense, and the potency will diminish. And this is nowhere in our scriptures, please stop them. So the Qazi, the governor there, he sent policemen to come and break up the Sankirtan party. And they tried to scare him. They said, if you do this again, they broke one of the drums, which is a serious thing. It's very violent, smash somebody's mridanga. And then they said, don't do this anymore. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu started a civil disobedience march with first hundreds and thousands, and then Chaitanya Bhagavat describes how tens of thousands, millions, because demigods were coming in also to join. As Mahaprabhu, you can imagine, evening is coming on, he had everyone building torches, making torches in their homes. Chaitanya Bhagavat describes everyone was making torches in Nadia. And when the time came, they all started marching together with these torches. And they went right to the Qazi's house. Some of the devotees wanted to wreck his house, and they started to do that. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stopped him, and he went in. The Qazi was hiding, and when they finally brought him out, Mahaprabhu said, what kind of way is this to treat a guest? I came here to see you, and you're hiding. This is no kind of etiquette. And he said, well, I was afraid. He said, why should you be afraid of me? And they sat down, and they had a conversation. And in it, Mahaprabhu explained the principle of chanting Hare Krishna, and also they had a philosophical discussion because the Qazi said that, in your scriptures that there's some kind of prescription for animal sacrifice in the Vedas. Because Mahaprabhu said, why are you killing animals? You'll never be able to understand anything. And that was the Qazi's response. It's in your Vedas. But Mahaprabhu pointed out that that only took place at a time when the Brahmanas were so expert they could bring the animals back to life. And he said it's forbidden in this age because people can't do it, so it's stopped now. And then the Qazi was starting to feel comfortable with Mahaprabhu, and he said, I want to reveal a secret to you. And so could we be alone? And Mahaprabhu said, these are all my intimate associates. Whatever you say to me, you could say to them. So he told them that I had a dream after I broke up the Sankirtan. This lion came to me and he threatened me. He said, if you ever try to stop the Sankirtan again, I'll not only kill you, but everybody else in Nadia who's a meat eater. And then he showed his chest. He had some marks on his chest. So he said, from now on, not just the ordinance for now, but I guarantee that throughout the generations after me, Everyone in my family will allow Sankirtan to go on here in Nadia, unrestricted. It should never be stopped again. So it points out when you assert yourself in the Sankirtan movement, either chanting at home, someone might object, like, why are you wasting your time? Why are you chanting? Why are you carrying the bag around and so forth? Or if you go out on the street and chant Hare Krishna, people may misunderstand it first. That happened at the very beginning of the Sankirtan party. The Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to great lengths to introduce this to the people of the world. He himself went door to door in South India. Imagine village to village, he walked as a sannyasi barefoot here and there to various villages. He'd go in, they'd come greet him, sannyasi coming in, and of course it's Mahaprabhu. He was a gorgeous sight to behold. Suvarda Varda Hemango Varnangaschan Janangadi Sanyasya Krishnama Shanto Nishta Shanti Purayana. One of the verses from the Sri Vishnu Sahasranam Stotram, which describes how this beautiful sannyasi was golden colored, wearing various kinds of ornaments. And when people saw him come to town, they'd gather around and he would teach them this Harinam. In every house, he said, you should have this Harinam every night, chant Hare Krishna. And then, of course, through his teachings, the process got passed down, and it ended up through Srila Prabhupada on the streets of New York. He sent out his devotees. There's actually videos of them first going out. At the outset of the Sankirtan movement, they're coming out of the door at 26 2nd Avenue and onto the streets to chant Hare Krishna. And it expanded from there. People listened, other people started chanting. Of course, Prabhupada started chanting by himself in the park, until some young people like Brahmananda and others, Chutananda, Kirtananda, they came and they started dancing, listening, coming to the classes. Prabhupada was giving nearby. And then he sent out parties to chant themselves, New York, San Francisco, then Montreal, Santa Fe, and it started taking off. And then some of the devotees said, Prabhupada, we'd like to go to London and meet the Beatles, Malati and Shyamasundar and others, Jamuna and Gurudas. So they flew to London. And they didn't have any money, so they had to borrow some money, because you had to have money to get in the country, because if you're just coming in and people, they look at you in immigration and say, what are you doing here? If you said, I'm just coming for a short time, then you say, how much money do you have? So they borrowed money, and then they'd show it, and then they'd send the money back, and then the next group would bring it in. They said the airplane was so inexpensive, they didn't have seats, they had a rope to hang on to. They were standing up or something. So they lived in somebody's garage, and they had a plan to meet the Beatles, so they would go to the place where the Beatles were recording, and they'd send little gifts of prasadam and little insignias of apples and all kinds of little ways in which to insert themselves there. And later on, Shyamasundar tells about how they got invited to a party, and George Harrison was there. So Shyamasundar and George Harrison, it was like from a last life. They were best friends all of a sudden. And George said, where you guys been? I've been waiting for you. And he had already heard the Hare Krishna mantra on a record. And because of hearing the record, he had been chanting Hare Krishna, very interested in meeting the devotees. So there it was, Krishna's arrangement. So this is something that happens when you chant Hare Krishna. Prabhupada writes in the Srimad Bhagavatam that all the stipulated energies become organized in your life in the right way. Did you ever feel like they're not organized properly? Various energies? They're going in different directions. It's hard to manage. So you need a mantra. In order to direct your life properly, you have to have a mantra, and you have to have the right mantra if you want to have a supremely happy and perfectly organized life. And not that your life will be supremely organized if you chant Hare Krishna, but it will all make sense how the energies are working together. Because when you chant Hare Krishna, Krishna is present, and he's the only one can actually organize everything in your life properly, if you depend on him when you chant Hare Krishna. And so as the Sankirtan movement unfolded, starting from Nadia, Hare Krishna, everyone say Hare Krishna to all the people who've joined online, all the great devotees. Thank you for joining us. We're really touched that you're out there watching, and we feel your presence. So imagine that it started from Nadia with chant, Radha Krishna, everyone chant. And it's going down the street. Can you imagine a kirtan with Lord Nityananda and Lord Chaitanya? I mean, who wouldn't want to see that kirtan? And then it spread. It spread through various devotees, acharyas. It came down. Prabhupada brought it to New York City. Then it went London, all over the world. Then they got a record deal to chant Hare Krishna. Then they got invited everywhere to chant Hare Krishna at clubs, on the radio, and Hare Krishna went all over the world. I saw, when I was in high school or in grammar school, I used to see the devotees chanting down in Berkeley at Sproul Plaza. They'd be out there all day. You drive by early and then you come back late, they'd still be there. And you're just hearing the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is very auspicious. Came from Lord Chaitanya. Chant, chant, Radha Krishna, everyone chant. And so now, miraculously, by Krishna's arrangement, he's the one organizing the energies. There are groups all over the world where you can chant Hare Krishna. So the secret to success in life is to chant Hare Krishna purely, with pure intention. If you call out to Krishna by repeating his sacred names, and you ask him for shelter and help, then he'll enter your life in the most amazing ways and help you to organize all the energies so that you can use them in his service. And that's really the purpose of life, to be able to use all energies, to be empowered to use every energy that comes to you to engage in Krishna's service. So then, after Aishikadiya, comes the next slide, which says, Miche Mayar Bhoshe, we'll get there in the booth. Miche Mayar Bhoshe Jacho Beshe Kacho Habuduboy. By Bhakti, switch the slide, please. Next slide. Thank you. He says, he's saying to the people, you're caught up in a whirlpool of senseless action. So what does that mean? A whirlpool of senseless action means that I'm being compelled by my senses to move in a certain direction, and my senses are doing that because of my past activities. So it's a continuum. In previous lives, I've acted in a certain way, and Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Purusha prakritisto hi bhunte prakriti jan gunan karanam guna sangosya sarasad yoni janmasu. That as you associate with various modes of nature, as you move about the universe, then you're creating your destiny, where you're going to go to the next life and the next life and the next life, and whatever situation you're going to end up in. And it's like a whirlpool. This material birth and death is called sansriti. It's flowing from one thing to the next. And he says here that you're just sinking in this, and you're basically drowning, because he uses the word habudubu, which in Bengali, it's anamanapiya. What does that mean? Anamanapiya. Yes, Bharat, give him the mic.
It's a word that expresses a sound.
Yeah, so habudubu, say? It sounds like you're drowning. Say it 3 times. Like bubbles coming up. It says, habudubu. So he says, you're drowning here in this material world. So what's the solution to this? Did you ever feel like you're drowning? I mean, too much work, too many problems, too many anxieties, too many stupid people in your life. So what do? You can't figure it, you can't sort it all out on your own. The answer is what? It's on the board. Chant, chant, Radha Krishna, everyone chant. That's how to solve the problem of being overwhelmed. It's the only way. If you chant Hare Krishna sincerely and pray to Krishna and Radha Krishna, they'll help you. And everything will get sorted out. And then in the next statement, as they're dancing down the street, they point out how real happiness in life comes through proper alignment. You have to be aligned properly in order to have harmony in your life. If you're out of alignment, you won't be happy. So here's the simple way to get aligned. Jeev Krishna Das e Bishwas. Just be fixed on this principle, that I am a servant of Krishna. And this is the sweetest thing ever, because at any time, in any place, in any circumstance, you can invoke this prayer that Krishna, I'm your servant. And everything about the situation will change in your favor. Because when you declare yourself a servant of Krishna, you really don't have any more responsibility. Krishna will take responsibility. He says it in the Bhagavad Gita, Sarva dharman parityaja mamekam sharanam braja aham tvang sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma suchaha. Don't worry, I'll take care. I'll deal with this. All you have to do is your job. And what is your job? That's true. But the other, the other job is surrender to Krishna. You only have one job, and that is to figure out how to surrender to Krishna. That's what Sarva Dharman Parityaja means. Figure this out. Just don't worry about anything else. The Shastras all say this. Can you believe it? Because I'm worried about so many different kinds of duties I have to deal with. But the Shastra keeps saying over and over again, like Devarshi Bhuta Nrinam Hitrinam. I'm sorry. Devarshi Bhuta Nrinam Pitrinam Naking Koronayam Ranicha Rajan Sarvatmanaya Sharanam Sharanyam Gato Mukundam Parihrita Kartam. This verse declares that everyone's in difficulty in this world. Why? Because they're drowning in debt. You ever feel like you're drowning in debt? Yes. It's the way this, of course, the present economic system is designed to keep everybody in debt. I'm not proposing conspiracy theories. I'm just saying it's messed up. So people are now drowning in debt in various ways, but it's existential. There's a way in which I'm drowning in debt because I'm coming into this world, I'm on borrowed time, and I'm being supported by many others just to be able to breathe and walk around in this world. The devas, the rishis, my parents, my relatives, other living entities, and so forth. But then the Shastra says, if you just do your job, and what's your job? What's your only job in life? Yeah, if you just put that on your immigration form, what do? Surrender to Krishna. And in all circumstances, whenever you find yourself out of alignment, you say, this is why I feel out of alignment, because I've forgotten that my only job in life is to surrender to Krishna. So the Srimad Bhagavatam starts off by saying that this is what you should do. Organize your life around this principle. Kamasya nendriya pritir labo jiviti yavata jivasya tapva jignasya narto yashcheha karmabhi. Live so that you can surrender to Krishna more. And whatever you get, use it so you can be situated in a place you can surrender to Krishna. That's a job that we can actually get done. Everything else won't get done. Your to-do list will be a mile long. How long is yours now? A mile? You can't fix it. That's probably good news, but don't think you're ever going to get to the zero inbox is impossible. And the whole idea of, that I'm just going to work it all out, like one idea is that I'm going to make enough money to retire and then I won't have any problems, I'll just cruise. It won't happen. It never does. Because, anyway, I'm going to go into the details. It just doesn't happen because we're drowning. And it's not that you can come to that point. So that's an idea everybody has. Everybody thinks, I'll get to that point. But it won't happen. So if you attend to your main business, even while you're doing your other prescribed duties in life, but you're thinking, I'm doing this for Krishna, I'm surrendering to Krishna in the best way that I possibly can right now in my life, then you're properly aligned. Then your intelligence is aligned properly, and you'll be happy. In any given situation, you can revert to this and remember, right, I'm a servant of Krishna and I'm going to surrender to him. And you can always call out to Krishna and say, Krishna, please save me. You want to try it? Okay, go ahead. It feels good, right? That's because we're living entities. Jeev Krishna Das E Bishwas, Korlita or Dukonai. The only thing that feels good to us ultimately is when we surrender to Krishna. In fact, sometimes in the worst situations, little jivas, and I'm not talking about devotees, I'm talking about little jivas everywhere, when they're in the worst situation possible and they're forced to say, Krishna, I take shelter of you, or they don't even know who Krishna is. Like Gajendra didn't know because he was an elephant. And so he just knew there was an alligator on my leg, or crocodile, and that I need help, so he called out, please help me. That feels good. It's the only thing that ultimately feels good, but you can also do it preemptively. That's what being a devotee means. You preemptively decide, I'm going to do it all the time because it feels right. Then I'm in alignment. Don't wait till the crocodile gets on your leg, but surrender to Krishna. So he's just saying the truth. Jeev Krishna Das E Bishwas. Have full faith in this one principle, and then everything else will be aligned. Then in the next verse, he talks about the power of this sadhana, the practice of chanting Hare Krishna. So this is the number one top practice for all yogis anywhere in the universe. And we can bring in thousands of verses to confirm this. But let's take it from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he says here, this is what will happen if you continue to chant Hare Krishna. Krishna bolbe jabe. What does that mean? If? When you chant the name of Krishna, bolbe jabe, say bolbe jabe. Pulakabe. Then, pulaka, pulak. Bliss comes. Oh, good. We got Bengalis all over the place here. Okay. Pulakhabe, jorbi anki. Tears come to your eyes. Why would tears come to your eyes when you chant Hare Krishna? Well, because this is a relationship with Krishna. What every living entity is looking for is love. And we're not satisfied till we have love. And the origin of all love in our relationship is our relationship with Krishna. Here in the material world, we look for love, but because we're looking in a relative way, we're not seeing it in relationship to Krishna, our relationships become severed right and left, and it's very frustrating. It's so frustrating, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, that some people decide that relationships in general don't work, that it's an actual existential fact that relationships don't work, and therefore he says that some people decide that I won't have any relationships at all. And there are philosophies, there are so-called spiritual philosophies that advocate that the ultimate state of perfection is nothingness. And that means no relationship. It means I'm nothing and there's nobody to reciprocate with, and that's out of disappointment. Philosophies that are based on disappointment generally don't work out very well. So you need something positive. And the positive thing in our life is love. That's what we all thrive on and are satisfied with. If you have that, then you're fully satisfied. And if you don't have that, it doesn't matter what else you have, you won't be happy. So how is it possible to actually experience that love? And so he says here, if you chant Hare Krishna, you'll feel that love because it's something that's already there within the heart, the potential to love Krishna. Every living entity has it. They all want that relationship of love. Prabhupada was sitting outside in the courtyard in Los Angeles one day, and two little kittens somehow were playing nearby. And you know how kittens get out of control, and they were playing with each other, and they came closer and closer. They came tumbling in right at where Prabhupada was sitting. And one of the devotees, a new sannyasi, was thinking, oh no, get him out of here. But Prabhupada was appreciating them, and he was saying, just see how in every species, every living entity is looking for that exchange of love and relationship. And you can find it everywhere. When one becomes a human being and then chants Hare Krishna, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying that it could become full-blown, the love you have for Krishna, and it awakens. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was taught, Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Sadhya Kabunoi Shravanani Shuddha Chitte Kare Udoy. That means it's not something that has to come from somewhere else. It's already within you. You already have that potency to love Krishna. And it gets awakened when you come into the association of the internal energy of the Lord. And you remember that, oh, this is where my fortune is in loving Krishna. And when you feel that, even a tiny molecule of that, tears come to the eyes. And so this is a good sign when you're chanting, that you're chanting and you're feeling so much, like overwhelmed with gratitude for no reason. You just suddenly feel that Krishna is maintaining me, he loves me, he's there with me at every second. And the heart begins to palpitate and tears come to the eyes. This can happen for somebody who chants Hare Krishna, and also if at the same time, remember the last point that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu meant, but think, I'm a servant of Krishna, just a humble servant. If you keep yourself in that position, and then you chant Hare Krishna, tears will come from your eyes. So, bolitai, jorbi anki bolitai. So, he's saying here, just chant Hare Krishna, and this will open up the loving relationship you have with Krishna, and you'll feel the ecstatic emotions for loving Krishna. Then the next one says, after that, see, there's a secret to these slides. I don't know if you notice it. Go back one. I have to inform those who are changing the slides, otherwise they miss it. Go back one more. Now hit it again. See that? Pulaka Habi. That's where you put your hands up. We built it into the slide, but generally it messes everything up unless somebody is informed ahead of time. All right, next one. Radha Krishna Bolo Shange Cholo. So all we're asking says they're going around begging. Nityananda and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they're begging, and all they're begging is, come with us, just chant Hare Krishna. Just come along and just chant. So that's what the Hare Krishna movement is. It's sharing this great wealth of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, the Sangha of devotees, the Srimad Bhagavatam. These are all the great treasures from the spiritual world, and you can just bring people and then teach them. First, you have to teach people what a treasure actually is, so they can see it and appreciate it. So it takes some culture. But that's actually how the Hare Krishna movement goes on. It's those who go out and they beg people, please chant, please come with us, please learn how to do this. And all the work that we do in the Krishna conscious movement is trying to figure out how we can better chant Hare Krishna, and we can invite more people so they can keep chanting. And finally, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says in the last slide, all dangers will be gone when that name is chanted. So this one can experience for oneself. If you chant Hare Krishna and depend on the holy name in all the aspects of your life, you'll feel all the dangers have gone away. Thanks for everyone who's joined us just recently. We're here at Silicon Valley. It's part of California that is dedicated mostly to commerce and invention, entrepreneurialism. Somehow or other, at this particular time, devotees from various parts of the world, especially India, have gathered here in the Silicon Valley area to expand the Hare Krishna movement. This is kind of a strategic place from which to expand the Hare Krishna movement. And the emphasis given in this movement is to understanding our relationship with Krishna. And one of the books that is seminal in our discussion on devotional service called The Nectar of Devotion. This is a book that is a summary of Rupa-Goswami's writing called the Bhakti-rasamrta-sindhu, which describes the ocean of devotional service in all its different parts. And this is important work that was done by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's key disciples, Rupa-Goswami, and there were others, Sanatana Goswami, his brother, and they contributed the literature that became foundational to understanding how to practice bhakti yoga. So this particular book, Nectar Devotion, is the concise explanation of everything that you need to know about bhakti yoga. So it's important to read this book, and you'll find, if you take time to read the Nectar Devotion, you'll experience a lot of pleasure in the practice of bhakti, because this book really does give you nectar. when you read from it. It gives philosophical explanations of the process of devotional service, and it also describes Krishna's various features, his qualities in detail. He also catalogs the various relationships that we have, that is, devotees with Krishna, when one is in various stages of one's development, starting from the stage of practice, and then there's stages of spontaneous devotional service and stages of bhava, when the heart starts to melt and one experiences internally a life of relationship with Krishna, and then there's prema. And all these things are described, so you have to have signposts along the way when you're practicing so that you know what to do and also which way you're going and how you're progressing. So one of the first chapter, here you'll notice, when you get your nectar devotion and open it up, starts with characteristics of pure devotional service. So Rupa-Goswami mentions that there are 6 characteristics of pure devotional service. That means, what the definition there is, anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karma jnanavritam anukulyena krishnanushilanam bhakti-rucham uttama. So this means that one should practice bhakti with the idea of serving Krishna out of love, and that one fully depends on the process of bhakti and not on any other process like jnana or karma to achieve the goal. And it also says that it's a cultivation. That's why Prabhupada called it devotional service. A lot of people just say bhakti means devotion. But it's more apt to call it devotional service in line with the verse Rupa-Goswami gives that actually defines the process when he uses the word anushilanam. Shil, the verb in Sanskrit, means cultivate. And there's an internal cultivation and an external cultivation of bhakti. The goals that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu set forth when he came to teach this to the world, number one, that we should achieve a spontaneous state of devotional practice called Raganuga Bhakti, in which we develop such a strong desire from hearing about Krishna and his pastimes that we actually want to be there, and we want to be with the associates of Krishna and with Krishna. This happens when devotees dedicate themselves to the hearing process. There's much spoken about this in the Bhagavatam, but the sequence that Prabhupada wrote about when he was on the Jaladuta on his way here was the sequence you'll find in the 2nd chapter of the Bhagavatam, starting with Shrinvatam swa kata Krishna punya shravana kirtana hridyantaksto hibhadrani vidunoti suratsatam. So this verse says that when you dedicate yourself to hearing about Krishna, then naturally Krishna, who's within your heart, will assist you in removing the obstacles to bhakti. And these would be the desires for enjoying the material world, the desires to become liberated from the world, and so forth. And he acts as a friend within the heart when he sees you're dedicated to the hearing process to remove those. And then it continues, does the sequence, Nashta prayeshu bhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavat yutama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. It's describing, Sutta Goswami is saying that as you continue, you'll progressively feel yourself becoming freed from the unwanted desires. And they're almost gone. You can notice for yourself that they're diminishing. They're actually going away. And then tada rajas tamo bhava kama lubareyasjaye cheta iter anavidam stitam satve prasidati. One comes to this point of stitam, situated in sattve. It's not ordinary goodness, but it means Shuddha Sattva, as mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam. There's a state, Sattvam Vishuddham Vasudeva Shabditam, yet Yate Tatrapumam Uparita. The Lord Shiva says, when you come to this state of Shuddha Sattva, It means beyond the mixture of the modes of material nature, then you can actually see Krishna for yourself. Our vision now is impaired because of being mixed up with the modes of material nature. So this process unfolds and we come to this point of purification by hearing about Krishna. And then, prasanna, evam prasanna manaso bhagavad bhakti yogata, bhagavat tattva vijnana mukta sangha sajayate. One's mind becomes happy. And naturally, we're happy beings because we're part and parcel of Krishna, who's Sat Chit Ananda. We also have that quality. But just like a little spark, the spark goes away from the fire. Depending on where it lands, it will be influenced in various ways. If it lands on a bog, what's a bog? Pondit circle, what's a bog? Okay, tell us what a bog is. You don't want to land in a bog.
A bog or bogland is a wetland that accumulates peat, a deposit of dead plant material, often mosses, and in a majority of cases, sphagnum moss.
Yeah, if a spark lands on a bog, it practically goes out. So that's like the mode of ignorance. And then a spark can land in another area that is a little bit like neutral. It can kind of stay alive for a little while. That's like the mode of passion. And it can land in a place where it can conflagrate. What is conflagration? Conflagration.
What's conflagration?
What? I know what it is, but I want them to say it.
It's a large and destructive fire that threatens human life, animal life, health, and or property.
Yeah, you get a big fire. So if you land in the right place, the fire can start. That's the mode of goodness. This is mentioned in the Bhagavatam. Partiva dharano dumas tasmaragnis tri mayaha tamasastu rajas tasmat sattvam yad brahmadarshana. So the three modes of material nature here are compared to raw wood, and then wood that's smoking. You ever have a campfire and just smokes? Doesn't do you any good, right? Same with the mode of passion. The smoke disturbs, it never serves. So the mode of passion just disturbs us. It looks like something's about to happen, but it doesn't. If you go to somebody's house, they invite you to dinner. It's ever happened? You sit in the living room wondering, when are they actually going to feed me? I actually had this happen once. And then, you hear the plates moving and everything, but the dinner never comes out. A mode of passion, it never delivers. It's this movement, but you never actually get there. But then sattva is like the fire. Fire actually comes in the sattva guna. And then with fire you can serve. There's a lot of things you can do, but especially you can do Vedic sacrifice. It means you can offer the grains into the fire and propitiate Lord Vishnu and please him through the fire yajna. This is the context of the verse. So if as little sparks we get associated with a bog or the dry ground or with the dry grass, then we'll experience different levels of life here in the material world, different qualities of life. But to go beyond that means mam chayo vyabhicharina bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samatityaitam brahma bhuyaya kalpate. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, if you take to this process of bhakti yoga and you continue it, don't stop, don't get discouraged, keep going, then gradually you'll rise above these three modes of material nature and you'll come to the spiritual platform. Sattvam vishuram vasudeva shabditam yat iyate tatra puman upavrita. You become uncovered then by the dint of your connection with the Shuddha Sattva. You'll be able to see everything clearly. So this verse, Bhagavatam says, Evam prasanna manaso bhagavad bhakti yogata bhagavat tattva vijnana mukta sangha sijayate. Not only will you be happy, but you'll understand everything completely. You'll see it for yourself. Of course, you never understand Krishna completely because he's beyond comprehension. But you'll see everything in its place, and you'll see that you are an eternal servant of Krishna, and you'll be properly aligned. And this means that the material life becomes finished. Vidyate hridaya grantish chidyante sarva samshaya shiyante chasya karmani drishta eva manishvare. From this position, this material life, the knot that I have to all the kind of nonsensical desires that I have to enjoy the material world gets cut. It's cut by this process. So everything happens from the process of devotional service, beginning from hearing about Krishna, and one develops one's desire to serve Krishna. So these are the 6 items of the qualities of pure devotional service. The first is that pure devotional service brings immediate relief from all kinds of material distress. So as soon as you decide that I'm going to join the Sankirtan party, it means you find out that there's a Hare Krishna movement. It's from an ancient tradition that comes down all the way from Krishna. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was recently here. You get some information about this and you become interested in joining the practice of bhakti. And you come for association with devotees and then begin. Bhajana Kriya means okay, I'm going to do this. And you start the process of devotional service. Even at that point, your material distress will be diminished greatly. And this happens, according to Rupa-Goswami, here in the Bhakti-rasamrta-sindhu, because the cause for our distress in this material world is sinful activity. I'm addicted to it, and that's because of my past sinful activity, and it forms a chain. Somebody recently gave me a book called Habits, and it talks all about how it's so easy to develop habits in this world, and we're not even aware that we're doing them. So life after life, I develop these habits, they're ingrained in me, and I continue them, and that's causing my suffering. So the process of bhakti then destroys not only the reactions to my past sinful activity, but ultimately, as I described in the process earlier, it also destroys the propensity to commit sinful activities here in the material world. This is described in the Padma Purana. Rupa Goswami quotes a verse which says, what does it say? Aprarabdha palam paptam, kutam bijam palonmukam, krameynaiva praliyante, Vishnu bhakti ratatmanam. This verse means if you're performing devotional service to the Lord, to Lord Krishna, Lord Vishnu, then naturally all the reactions to your sinful activities will be destroyed, and then names their different stages. So this aprarabdha palam papam. So prarabdha karma means what we've got right now as a result of our past activities, and aprarabdha means the sinful activities that are waiting to grow in your life, and they're there in seed form. And anybody who's a gardener knows how this works. You may have a field, you may open up a patch of land in your yard or anywhere else and get it all ready. If you just leave it there, what'll happen? You come back in a few weeks, just like our front yard now. Where's our gardener, by the way? It rained a little bit. Now there's plants, unwanted plants everywhere. I mean, we love you and everything, but you got to go. They come up out of nowhere. They're everywhere. So these sinful desire seeds are there in the heart, and they grow naturally. So when you perform devotional service, these various seed stages, the fully manifest stage, they all get destroyed by the practice of bhakti. And therefore, one feels relief from the distress of material life. So that's the first quality or benefit from the practice of pure devotional service. And the next is that devotional service, pure devotional service, automatically puts one in transcendental pleasure. So, yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. This always inspires me that this devotional service removes material distress. But what I'm trying to understand is if all our sinful activities are gone by devotional service, then there won't be any necessity for anybody to be in this material world because it's dukhalayam. But does that happen, as we say, after 40 years of practice, or does it happen immediately? What is the criteria? What type of devotional service?
Well, it happens immediately, but it's actually like if you take 1,000 lotus petals, and then you take a long needle, and then you push the needle through the lotus petals. If you're watching the process, you would say it happens all at once. But if you really want to get technical about it, you'll say it happens one thing at a time. That's why in the verse we just quoted, it says, Kramena praliyante Vishnu Bhakti-rasamrta-sindhu. Kramena means step by step it happens. Some people say it starts from the unmanifest, then it comes up to the prarabdha karma, or it can go the opposite way too. But the fact is, the Shastra says it very clearly. For instance, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, Devahuti says, Aho bata shva pachato garyanya jiva gre vartate namatubhyam te pusta paste juhuvu sasna arya brahmanatra nama grananti ete. Oh, how wonderful it is, she says, that those who are chanting Hare Krishna, even a little bit, even just with the tip of their tongue, even once, if the quality is nice, then they are destroying all the previous karmas, and the proof is that they become qualified to perform Vedic sacrifice. How could that happen unless one's prarabdha karma was being changed? And Rupa-Goswami says in the Namashtakam, verse please. He says, Yet Brahma shakshat kritanishtriyapi vinashamayati vinana bhogai apaiti nama spuranina tate prarabdha karmeti virauti vedaha. He's saying, it says in all the Vedas, if you search it out, that by chanting Hare Krishna, you can actually destroy even your prarabdha karma. So these things are destroyed by the process of chanting Hare Krishna in devotional service. And then Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur also says that Krishna will maintain the prarabdha of the devotees so that they can go on doing, practicing devotional service. So it kind of maintains it. Yes?
One follow-up question is, Prabhu, is when you said about the quality of chanting, is it the attitude should not be that material distress should go away if I just chant to please Krishna, then only this happens, or is it like if I chant for any reason, then it happens?
Yeah, the 6th canto of the Bhagavatam goes into this science of chanting Hare Krishna. This is the canto about Poshanam, how the Lord protects the living entities. And Parikshit Maharaj wants to know, after hearing about the hellish planet, how are we actually protected by the Lord? How do we save these people? And then Shukadev tells the story of Jamil and how he was saved by chanting the holy name even without intending to chant purely. His life was a little bit in turmoil. And he was calling out to his son, especially when he was about to die. And because he was in anxiety, he chanted. Because he saw Yamadutas coming. He was calling for his son, really, not for Narayan. But it acted anyway. So it'll act. But if one chants with the feeling of complete dependence on the Lord, then the quality becomes enhanced. As Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Ye yata mam prapadyante tamstataiva bhajamyaham mama vartmanavartante manusha parta sarvasha. As you surrender unto me, I reward you accordingly. Actually, if you think about it, everything that we have in our life and every direction that we're about to go is dependent on our desire. This is a great secret and mystery of life, that our destiny is dependent on our desire. Krishna brings this up in the 8th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, this chapter called Attaining the Supreme, where he describes how one develops a certain kind of inclination in this life due to association, and then at the end of life, verse, Yang vapi smaran bhavam tajat yante kalevaram tam tami vaite konteya sada tat bhava bhavita. Wherever your mind is fixated, whatever it's fixated on, whatever subject matter, Prabhupada said, the dying man is attracted to, which is a natural cultivation. that will determine next life. It's based on our desire. Really, material nature is fulfilling our desire. I hope I'm answering your question and not getting lost. Tell me your question again. What did she ask? What's the difference between mixed? Oh, yeah. So anyway, I was just saying that it's important to have intensity of desire. In fact, Rupa-Goswami says, Krishna bhakti ras bhavito mati kriyatam yadi kritopi labhyate tatalolyam api mulyam ekalam janma koti suridin. No, I'm sorry. Janma. Okay. Huh? Okay, I'm doing it over again. Do over. Krishna bhakti ras bhavito mati kriyatam yadi kritopi labhyate tatalolyam api mulyam ekalam janma koti sukritina labhyate. So if you get labhyate sukriti, if you gather up all the kind of pious credits in this world, you won't get bhakti. The only way you can get bhakti, the kind of pure bhakti we're talking about here, is if you have an intense desire for it. You got to have what's called lolyam, or greed. This is actually a stage of advancement in devotional service that comes after anartha nivritti, when we become purified. And I don't want anything else. All I want is Krishna. And if you have these kinds of desires that are very pointed, this is called tivrena bhakti yogina. Tivrena means you focus your attention and desire so strongly on Krishna. That's all I want is Krishna. That it acts very quickly. Just like when you focus through a magnifying glass, the sunlight which is diffused, and you put it in one ray, you can start a fire. So similarly, our desire has to be really strong. And if we chant like that, then it's so quickly effective. If you look in the Bhagavatam for Maharaj Chitraketu, he was able to directly see the Lord through his chanting sadhana, his mantra, within 7 days. So, yes, it's really dependent on the quality of the chanting, and therefore we should try to develop that kind of intensity of chanting. And if you can't, then it's called Durdaiva Midrishamihajini Naraga. Lord Chaitanya said, it's so unfortunate. Just be okay to feel unfortunate and say, like, what did I do? Who did I offend? Where I can't get anything. I'm chanting, but I don't get anything. And if you start thinking like Krishna, how did I get so unfortunate that I couldn't get anything? Somewhere in my heart I want something, but I don't have anything, I couldn't get anything. And you chant like that, then and in a humble state of mind, because you're so durdaivam, you're so unfortunate. So that's why Mahaprabhu said, here's the solution. Just get really humble and realize that you're nowhere. And when you do that, then of course Kunti said, Janma Ishvarya Shruta Shibir Edamana Madapuman Naivar Hat Yavidatum Vai Toma Kinchana Gocharam. That she said, if you're a kinchana, you feel like this, that I couldn't get anything, I didn't get anything, I don't have anything, I'm nowhere. But Krishna, I'm calling out to you. Then that'll have some effect. So the quality is really important. So our practice of devotional service dependent on developing this kind of attitude. You had your hand up for about a half an hour, so let's see what you got. What? Have a little lolyam, have a little greed, and go ahead, 1, 2.
Hare Krishna. I'd like to hear you elaborate on what Krishna experiences when we chant for him.
What Krishna experiences? It's described in the 11th canto of the Bhagavatam what Krishna experiences, and also in the first canto, in the second chapter. The second chapter of the Bhagavatam describes what is it? Dharma prochita kaitavo tra paramo nirmatsaranam satam vejam vasavam vastu shivram tapotrayam mulanam Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni krite kim vaparayarishvara Sadyo hridyavarudyate tra kritibi shushushubhishtakshanat. So it's describing, this is like the manifesto of the Bhagavatam. It's saying, first of all, this Bhagavatam is not for cheaters, and it's not going to cheat you. It's going to tell you the absolute truth. And cheaters can apply elsewhere, because this is not for people who want something in the material world. It's for people who are going all out for Krishna. Dharma prochitat kaitavotra paramum nirmatsaranam satam. It's for people who are also nine envious. Vejam vastavamam. So then it's describing how it's the essence of all the Vedas. And then it comes sadya hridyavarudyate tra kritibi shushushubhishtakshanat. So those who are attentive to hearing the Bhagavatam, and they're very eager to chant Hare Krishna, hear about Krishna in the Bhagavatam. For them, sadya hridya avarujyate means that Krishna, his mood is, when you chant like that, he says, I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving this person's heart. Mukharvin, can you give me that verse from the 11th canto? That parallels this. It's in the 11.1. 11.255. Give me 11.255. It's a parallel verse. It's actually quoted by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur when he comments on this verse, which says, Hridyad, that the Lord becomes camped out in your heart. He'll set up a camp there. He won't leave if you have that mood. And then this verse, if you'll see 11.255, just the verse translation will blow your mind. And if you want your mind blown, then cover your ears. And put a blinder on, by the way, too. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is so kind to the conditioned souls that if they call upon Him by speaking His holy name, even unintentionally or unwillingly, the Lord is inclined to destroy innumerable sinful reactions in their hearts. Therefore, when a devotee who has taken shelter of the Lord's lotus feet chants the holy name of Krishna with genuine love, the Supreme Personality of Godhead can never give up the heart of such a devotee. One who has thus captured the Supreme Lord within his heart is to be known as Bhagavata Pradhana, the most exalted devotee of the Lord. You can start weeping now. Because, I mean, someone may say, well, this is over-the-top compassionate. How could anybody be like that? And this is what the Bhagavatam is screaming at us over and over again. Uddhava is saying, like, why would you go anywhere else? The question comes up at Naimisharanya. The sages say, Kova Bhagavatasya. Who is it who won't take this? The answer comes later on. Someone who's killing themselves. Someone who's absolutely on a suicide course, that I want to kill myself. Kill the soul, Atmaha. So this is, the Krishna's compassion comes to the devotees. And when you try even a little bit, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that, verse please, a little bit. Neha bikramanashosti pratyavayana vidyate swalpamapyasya dharmasya tarate mahato bhayat. He says this in seed form in the Bhagavad Gita, that if you try a little bit, then you will, that'll be permanent, your permanent record. He's so attentive to when you have that strong intention to serve Him, or you call out to Him. He remembers that forever. Ramachandra says that if somebody even one time says that I surrender to you, he said, I never forget that. I'm gonna keep that, and I'm gonna protect that person from that point forward. So that's how Krishna reacts. And in his prayers, Gajendra is saying, Krishna's never inattentive. It's not that only when we start praying does He pay attention to us. He's really focused on us all the time. It's I'm not looking in the right direction. I don't have the right attitude, so I can't even understand that He's right there with me. And that's why I was saying earlier, if you're chanting Hare Krishna with full sincerity, then you'll come to this point of appreciating that Krishna was there all the time. And that He's extending Himself, and He's giving me my life right now. And that His mercy is completely abundant, not just now, but forever. And all I have to do is keep surrendering to Him. That's life. That's real life. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna also says, Mukharvin, give me this verse. He says that one who does good is never overcome by evil. Second chapter. This verse is so beautiful. Krishna is saying, if you're just sincere, it means sincerity is never futile. Never. If you're sincere, even if you're inept in every other way, if you're sincere, then you'll be successful in devotional service, because you just have to try, and if you chant a little bit with sincerity, then you'll be successful. Okay. 1, 2. Naham tishtami vaikunte. He says that I'm not in Vaikuntha. I'm not, where else isn't he? In the hearts of the yogis. I'm wherever my devotees are chanting my holy name. Yes. First say it in Bangla and then.
Thank you, Prabhu, for the nice class. Prabhu, actually, the last line which was saying, one who has thus captured the Supreme Lord within his heart is to be known as Bhagavat Pradhana, the most exalted devotee of the Lord. So that reminded me of the Chaurashtakam, like the 7th and 8th verse, Bilba Mangala Thakur is explaining, you can like go away, but in my heart I have captured you in the prison house of my heart, and from there you will not be able to go for thousands of years. So that reminded me of that verse.
Thank you.
And,
nice one.
And Prabhu, one other question is on the song. So in the song, it directly mentioned that Radha Krishna, but it remembered me a pastime of yours. You were explaining that you said to Malati Mataji, Radhe Radhe, and she replied that we say Hare Krishna. Right?
What was that?
I mean, you texted to Malati Mataji saying Radhe Radhe, and she replied that we say Hare Krishna. I mean, Malati Mataji. So,
Malati.
Yeah, yes. Malati Prabhu.
Oh, Malati said, yes.
Yeah. So you texted her saying Radhe Radhe, and she replied
right.
to you that we say Hare Krishna, Prabhupada said.
Yes.
So in the song, so is it like Bhaktivinoda Thakur could have put Hare Krishna directly there, but he put Radha Krishna because he was meaning to chant Hare Krishna, right, actually. So Prabhu, is there any specific reason that he put Radha Krishna directly rather than putting Hare Krishna in the song?
Bhaktivinoda Thakur?
Yeah, what do you think?
I don't know, but I'll answer it a different way that might be more helpful and I might have more insight into. Prabhupada was careful that we adhered to his mood and method of presenting Krishna consciousness, and also assimilated what we had. And the propensity for devotees to go to Vrindavan or any other dham, and then suddenly become Babajis or pure devotees, or start mixing with all the locals and think, hey, I'm a local too, was acute. In other words, it happened a lot. So Prabhupada was wary of that. He wanted devotees to be careful. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu incidentally did too. Jagadananda was going to Vrindavan after he begged Mahaprabhu to go there. Mahaprabhu told him, don't mix with the locals. You won't be able to understand their mood of devotional service. And so that was more the kind of mood that he said those things in. And it just shows that although the teachings of Mahaprabhu and all the Vaishnava acharyas are vast, and it's very helpful for one to concentrate one's attention and develop the mood of one's particular gana or group. And this is the bhakti bias. That's why when you have a guru, you try to pick up the mood of the guru. When you have an acharya and an organization, you try to pick up the mood and method of the acharya and the organization. Of course, we notice and we honor and appreciate all the different moods, but it's okay to have a specific one. And that's what Prabhupada was doing when he gave that kind of instruction to Malati Prabhu. It's like, don't start getting all vraj on me, that kind of thing. Like Prabhupada was careful about those things when devotees try, because externally, the person, even who's a Ragatmika Bhakta, whose heart is already melted, they're way into the prasa even of Bhava Bhakti, then externally they're still following rules and regulations to set an example for others. And so Prabhupada was wary of people going off and prematurely exhibiting all kinds of things. And I'm not saying that's there from just saying Radhe Radhe, but it's in the same vein. That was the idea that Prabhupada propagated amongst his disciples, to be very careful and follow a standard path. Okay, we're almost to the end, and Sundarananda Prabhu gets the mic. Oh, who else was waiting? Vrindavan's sitting over waiting for like 2 hours. Okay. Go ahead, make your point, and then your father is going to follow up.
You were talking about the power of chanting the holy name, and I remember this verse from the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam in the first chapter. I forgot which verse. Which verse. I'm pretty sure it's the 14th, and it says that one can be delivered from the meshes of birth and death by by even unconsciously chanting the holy name, which is feared by fear personified.
Yes, nice citation. That is a very helpful verse. We know our Damodar Vamsidhari Prabhu, who's somewhere now watching over us. Whenever I always notice when anything happens, he'll go, "Oh, Jagannath!" To have the presence of mind. The blackboard starts to fold. Jagannath! Okay, Sundarananda Prabhu, let's see if you can follow that one.
Well, I was just remembering the point, and I want to reflect back. What you said is my main business is to remember that I am servant of Krishna and surrender to Krishna.
Set up a little business. And what is your business? Surrender to Krishna. There's a lot of components. That's what's in this book. This is the business guide to those who have taken the business to surrender to Krishna. And this is how to do it. And as you were pointing out earlier, there's a sixfold path of surrender to Krishna, Sharanagati. And it's an art, it's a science. Because it's not that suddenly you can just opt out. Of course you can internally. You can make that decision and even make a declaration. But then you'll find that the material world kind of bounces back at you. And there's a lot that you have to deal with, isn't it? Yes. It's not just me? So you have to be artful, you have to be inventive, and you have to be smart enough, clever enough to listen to Krishna carefully. And you become smart and clever by listening to Krishna carefully and then learning to cheat death before death cheats you. That's a very embarrassing thing. To run out your time that you have, that you've been allotted, and all of a sudden you get cheated by death that can jump in at any minute, so don't get cheated. Oh, yes, Vishaka Leela in the back for the trifecta in the one family. And Raja will go for 4, yeah. But we're down to 4 minutes also.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. So as we progress, we become very casual about chanting. We expect that very quickly we'll see Krishna everywhere. But when that's not the case, we become frustrated and mechanical about chanting. It's difficult to focus the mind, yet we are compelled to chant because of the order of Guru, and also because of the deep knowledge that we have to do chanting to purify our heart. So what is a devotee supposed to feel when he or she chants Hare Krishna?
Well, I talked a little bit about it, the things that will come flowing into one's mental system. But I'd rather, talk about what the remedy is. One thing that's always helped me is a concept of starting over. I like to start over every day and just pretend like I'm just doing this for the first time. It's easy to get frustrated in this world because generally things go sideways eventually, and there's a lot of frustrating things that can happen. So just start over. Give up and start over and say, okay, whatever happened before, whatever, I'm not even going to count that. I'm just going to start from zero again and start with a clean slate. And really just try to remember what it was like the first time you chanted. And it's natural. This is mentioned in the Bhagavatam in the 6th and 7th chapters. The Narada Muni, when he was just a young boy, had lost his family, his house. Of course, he had bhakti because he got association with devotees. And then he was off wandering, practicing what he had learned. And then he actually came directly in contact with Krishna and was experiencing complete ecstasy. And then Krishna withdrew that. And then he felt really frustrated. And then Krishna said that you're not at that level yet, but I gave you a little sample, a little free sample. So now remember that and work for it. So what are you supposed to feel? Well, if you don't feel anything, then feel dutiful. Just use your intellect. As Krishna says in the end of the third chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Evam buddhi param buddva samstabhyatmanamatmana jahi shatram mahabaho kamarupam durasadam. He said, overcome the lower self by the higher self. Use your buddhi and get it aligned. Just understand that intellectually, use your spiritual intelligence and understand that I'm dealing with the holy name. And as Rupa-Goswami says in his Namashtakam, he says, I mukta kaleru pasyamanam. Notice that all the liberated souls are doing this. Why wouldn't you do it? And start from there and think like, okay, I don't have any taste, but I'm going to follow in the footsteps of these great souls, and I'm going to practice to the best of my ability. And Krishna's very kind. He'll enter back into our lives when we diligently take up the process again and just sincerely try. It can help us. So I'm leaving early in the morning tomorrow for a flight to Dallas, Texas. We're going to go to Austin to meet some exalted devotees there. There's a community there. And then we're going to Dallas on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for seminars and also to participate in their monthly Sankirtan festival. And so we'll be very engaged, I hope, in the Sankirtan movement. And I'll see you all next Wednesday, right? Yes. Next Wednesday, Krishna willing. And please take care of each other. We're really lucky to have association devotees, so appreciate devotees as much as possible. And chant with abandon. Just try to surrender to Krishna. And thank you very, very much for coming out tonight and for everyone who joined us online. Unfortunately, we're out of time, but the Pujari hasn't stepped back in. Do you have a quick comment?
I was wanting to ask if you had any advice for one who wants to chant japa every day but has trouble doing it.
He wanted to give advice for somebody who wants to chant japa every day but has trouble doing it?
No, I was asking for you, if you had any advice.
Well, get association. If you're in association with people who chant every day, you'll chant every day. Because we generally do whatever other people around us are doing.
So I find that sometimes when I chant japa, it feels good to chant japa, but I don't do it every day, and I want to. So in my mind, I know I should.
Please do it every day.
But I don't remember to every day. But
all right.
yeah.
Well, get your phone number afterwards. I'm going to text you every day. Okay? From now on, I'll text you once a day and remind you to chant, but you have to answer back.
Okay.
Is that fair? Okay. Gaur Premanande, Nitai Gaura Hari Bo, 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 Nitai Gaura Hari Bo, Nitai Gaura Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Nitai Gaura Hari Bo. Vanchakalpadrishya kripasanvevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Please attend the Artik ceremony. We'll move all the asanas out of the way so that you can dance to your heart's content. And thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Nachari Armarman, Nachari Armarman, Nachari Armarman, hey, Nachari Armarman, Nachari Armarman, Nachari Armarman, Nachari Armarman.